So in this video, the focus is on the best hand saws for cutting trees, camping, pruning, heavy yard work, and even survival situations. Some of these are built like absolute tanks for ripping through thick wood fast. Others are precision tools designed to leave ultra-clean cuts that actually help trees heal properly. And one of them might honestly replace multiple tools in a backpack or truck kit. But here's the important part. A great-looking saw on paper doesn't always perform in the real world. Some cut insanely fast but leave rough, ugly finishes. Others feel razor sharp at first, until the teeth chip after one bad cut. So, by the end of this video, it'll be crystal clear which saw is actually worth spending money on, and which one fits specific cutting jobs best. Starting at number 6, the IRWIN Marathon ProTouch 15-inch coarse cut hand saw. This thing is basically the brute force option on the list. It's not delicate, it's not elegant. But when the goal is raw cutting speed through thick wood, the IRWIN becomes seriously impressive for the money. The aggressive tri-ground tooth design combined with those deep gullets absolutely tears through material. Thick branches, rough lumber, pressure-treated boards, it handles all of them fast. And that's the key word here. Fast. In real-world yard work, this feels less like a traditional handsaw and more like a manual demolition tool. The thick steel blade stays surprisingly rigid during aggressive push strokes, which matters a lot when cutting larger limbs because flimsy blades start wandering offline almost immediately. The ProTouch handle also deserves credit because long cutting sessions can destroy your grip with cheaper saws, especially in hot weather. Now, here's the catch. This is not a precision tool at all. The coarse tooth pattern leaves rough, jagged cuts that are terrible for finish work or delicate pruning. If someone is trying to protect ornamental trees or create smooth healing cuts, this is the wrong saw. It's built for speed over beauty. Compared to something like the Jorgensen coming later, the IRWIN starts cuts slightly easier thanks to its finer front tip teeth. That small detail actually matters more than people realize because aggressive saws often skate across the surface before biting into wood. Still, for contractors, heavy DIY users, or anyone constantly cutting thick lumber and dead branches, the IRWIN delivers outstanding performance at a very reasonable price. Just understand exactly what it is. This is a rough cut monster, not a surgical cutting tool. At number 5, the REXBETI 11-inch folding saw. This one hits a very sweet spot between portability and serious cutting power. A lot of folding saws feel tiny or toy-like once they meet thicker wood, but the REXBETI is different because that long 11-inch blade gives it real reach and leverage. For camping, hunting, trail clearing, or emergency storm cleanup, this thing becomes ridiculously useful. The SK5 high-carbon steel blade stays aggressively sharp, and the pull-stroke cutting action requires noticeably less effort than traditional push saws. That matters a lot during extended outdoor use because fatigue builds up faster than most people expect. And honestly, this is where many compact saws fail. They work fine on paper but become exhausting during actual use. The REXBETI avoids that problem surprisingly well. Thick, dry branches up to around 6 inches are absolutely manageable here, especially because the pistol grip handle allows strong leverage with both hands if needed. But there's an important warning. This blade is extremely hard steel, which means it cuts aggressively, but it's not forgiving. Twist it sideways inside a cut or apply too much pressure on the push stroke, and there's real risk of snapping the blade. That's the trade-off with hard Japanese-style steel performance. Compared to the MOSSY OAK later in the video, the REXBETI is significantly better for pure woodcutting performance and larger branches. But the MOSSY OAK wins for versatility because it handles multiple materials instead of focusing mainly on wood. For serious campers, homesteaders, hunters, and property owners who need a compact saw that still feels genuinely powerful, the REXBETI is honestly one of the strongest folding options available without entering premium Japanese pricing territory. At number 4, the HAUTMEC X Sharp 14-inch Pro hand saw. Now this saw takes the opposite approach from the IRWIN. Instead of maximum aggression, the HAUTMEC focuses on control, clean cuts, and precision. And depending on the type of tree cutting involved, that can actually matter more than speed. The 12 TPI triple ground teeth leave remarkably smooth cuts on smaller branches. PVC, trim wood, and softer lumber. For homeowners maintaining ornamental trees or doing careful pruning around landscaping, this saw feels far more refined and manageable than the coarse-cut monsters higher on the list. And this is important because rough cuts can genuinely damage live trees. Jagged tearing increases healing time and creates more opportunity for disease or pest issues. That's why cleaner cutting saws still matter despite being slower. The blade rigidity here is excellent too. Cheap fine-tooth saws often flex badly, especially during longer strokes, but the HAUTMEC tracks very straight through controlled cuts. The built-in angle guides on the handle are also surprisingly practical during DIY renovation projects. But here's the downside. The moment thicker green wood enters the equation, performance slows dramatically. Wet sap and pulp can clog those fine teeth quickly, and cutting larger limbs becomes noticeably more labor-intensive compared to coarse-cut competitors. Compared directly with the IRWIN, the difference is night and day. The IRWIN destroys material faster while the HAUTMEC delivers cleaner, more professional-looking results. So this isn't really a saw for heavy storm cleanup or aggressive tree removal. It's better for controlled pruning, woodworking, trim work, and homeowners who value neatness over raw cutting speed. At number 3, the Saboten Japanese pruning saw. This is where the list enters premium territory. The Saboten isn't trying to be an all-purpose survival tool or rough construction saw. This is a dedicated pruning instrument built for one thing: making incredibly clean, healthy cuts on live trees and plants. And honestly, the difference becomes obvious almost immediately. The pull-stroke cutting action feels unbelievably smooth compared to standard Western push saws. Instead of forcing the blade through wood, the saw glides through branches with minimal resistance. The fluorine-coated blade also makes a huge difference because sticky sap buildup ruins cutting efficiency fast on ordinary pruning saws. This saw handles live fruit trees, ornamental shrubs, and fresh green branches beautifully. The cuts are so clean they almost look polished, which seriously helps with tree healing and long-term plant health. Now here's where things get interesting. A lot of people buy heavy-duty saws thinking bigger automatically means better. But for gardeners, orchard owners, and landscapers, cleaner cuts are often far more important than brute force. Crushed fibers and torn bark can damage valuable trees over time. That said, this saw absolutely has limitations. The high-carbon Japanese teeth are incredibly sharp, but also delicate. Hit hidden dirt, stones, or metal, and chipping becomes a real possibility. Plus, users unfamiliar with pull-stroke saws sometimes accidentally bend the blade by pushing too aggressively forward. Compared with the rugged REXBETI, the Saboten is less portable and less durable for survival-style abuse. But for actual pruning quality, the Saboten completely outclasses most Western saws in smoothness and precision. This is the saw for serious gardeners and arborists who care more about perfect cuts than raw destruction. At number 2, the JORGENSEN 15-inch coarse handsaw. This thing feels overbuilt in the best possible way. The aluminum handle immediately stands out because most saws in this category rely heavily on plastic. Under heavy pressure, that extra rigidity matters. There's almost zero flex during aggressive cuts, and the black-coated blade glides through wet wood surprisingly well. That coating isn't just cosmetic either. When cutting green trees or sap-heavy branches, many saws start binding badly halfway through cuts. The Jorgensen resists that better than most competitors here, including the IRWIN in certain wet conditions, and the cutting speed is genuinely impressive. The aggressive 8 TPI triple ground teeth absolutely chew through thick timber, fallen limbs, PVC, and rough construction material. For storm cleanup, outdoor property maintenance, or demanding job site work, this saw feels extremely dependable. But once again, there's a trade-off. The aggressive tooth pattern leaves rough finishes that are terrible for precision work. And unlike the IRWIN, this blade lacks fine starter teeth near the tip, so initial cuts sometimes skid across smooth surfaces before biting properly. That sounds minor until someone is balancing awkwardly on a ladder, trying to start a branch cut overhead. Compared to the IRWIN, the Jorgensen feels slightly tougher overall, thanks to the metal handle and moisture-resistant coating. but the IRWIN still starts cuts a bit cleaner and smoother. For contractors, heavy yard maintenance, and users constantly working in rough outdoor environments, the Jorgensen feels like one of the toughest all-around workhorse saws on the market. And finally, at number 1, the MOSSY OAK 3-in-1 folding saw. This saw wins because versatility matters more than most buyers expect. A lot of people purchase specialized saws, then realize later they also need something for PVC, emergency repairs, camping tasks, or even occasional metal cutting. The MOSSY OAK solves that problem by giving 3 interchangeable blades in one compact system. That flexibility makes this thing ridiculously practical for survival kits, camping gear, truck storage, and emergency preparedness setups. The wood blade handles green branches effectively. The dry wood and PVC blade gives smoother cuts on tougher material, and the metal blade, while slower, still works surprisingly well for emergency use. Now, obviously, there's a compromise. Dedicated saws like the REXBETI absolutely outperform the MOSSY OAK in pure wood-cutting speed and larger branch capacity. The interchangeable mechanism also introduces slight blade play during aggressive cutting, which serious professionals will definitely notice. But here's the thing most buyers care about: convenience. Instead of carrying multiple tools, this single compact package handles several different materials reasonably well. The included pouch also keeps everything organized, which sounds small, until loose blades start rattling around inside a backpack. For backpackers, hunters, bushcraft users, homeowners, and casual DIY users, the MOSSY OAK simply covers the widest range of situations. And for most people, versatility beats specialization. Now, before the final recommendations, here's the reality nobody talks about with handsaws. Most people buy the wrong type of saw entirely. A coarse construction saw used for delicate pruning will destroy tree health. A fine pruning saw used for storm cleanup becomes painfully slow. And ultra-compact survival saws often disappoint buyers expecting full-sized cutting performance. That's why only a few options on this list truly stand out depending on the job. Some are incredible for live green branches. Others dominate rough lumber and thick dry wood, and some prioritize portability above all else. So the best choice really comes down to how the saw will actually be used in the real world, not just which one has the most aggressive marketing. For the best overall pick, the MOSSY OAK 3-in-1 folding saw takes the win because it simply fits the widest range of users. The interchangeable blades make it incredibly practical for camping, survival, tree cutting, PVC work, and emergency situations without needing multiple tools. For the best heavy-duty cutting performance, the Jorgensen is the clear winner. It's tough, aggressive, and built for serious work around thick timber and rough outdoor environments. For the best pruning and tree health option, the Saboten Japanese pruning saw stands out easily. The smooth pull cuts and ultra-clean finish make it perfect for gardeners and arborists who care about proper plant maintenance. And for the best budget-friendly folding option, the REXBETI delivers amazing value with cutting performance that honestly punches above its price range. No matter which one stands out most, the links below usually have updated pricing and availability because these saws constantly change in price depending on season and demand. So if one of these fits the type of cutting work being planned, check those links before stock disappears or prices jump unexpectedly.